Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Tim Fulton.
And I'm Andy Smith.
And this is Dear Bros. Dear Bros is a little segment where we answer a device question column question. I said that terribly.
That's okay.
And we use our bro answers for it. And on a very special Dear Bros, we have none other than my friend, my colleague, my work wife, Allison Skinner. Say hello, Allison.
Hello, everybody.
What's happening?
What's happening? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining, yeah.
First time we ever had a girl on this show.
I know. She's
Record
gonna put us in our
breaker.
place. A lot of the dumb shit that we say here.
No. No,
Zach
no.
only counted 50%.
Yeah, no.
towards that.
No, he doesn't count at all.
In all seriousness, thank you. It's always good to have another opinion and take us down a notch a little bit because we got shit from your mother
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
giving out too much bro advice
Yeah.
every now and then.
She gave it to us on one of the things. I guess we weren't taking someone's side enough.
I think we take the men's side a little too heavy.
Well, we're looking out those eyes, so.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can bring to the table today.
We appreciate that. All right, so first up on Dear Bro, Andy, adopting an adult. What the hell does that mean?
Okay, so this one is titled Man Contemplates Adopting the Stepdaughter He Adores.
Oh,
All right, so just hang in there, though.
okay.
Okay. So, dear Abby, I'm thinking about asking my stepdaughter, Gwen, 37 years old with a husband and 3 kids, if she would like me to adopt her. I married her mother when Gwen was 2. We divorced when she was 8 or 9, so we're out of contact for about 25 years. Gwen really dislikes her father. Her mother and I have patched things up, so much so that we've been on a couple of vacations together. Gwen has been along on both. We've had a special bond that goes back to the first time I met her. She was a terror, and her mother and grandmother and the rest of the family had basically given up on her. But we clicked. I was patient with her, and we became close. When we were together a few weeks ago on vacation, she asked me if I wanted to come to Colorado, which is halfway across the country from where I live, for her daughter's 3rd birthday. I'm going. I love her dearly and always have. I miss her terribly during these years her mother and I barely communicated. I was able to see my kids, but not her. Now I feel the closeness again, and I want to officially adopt her. I can't really see that because of the camera. As I should have when she was 2. What do you think?
This was a range of emotions.
Yeah.
I went from this is adorable to ooh to this is kind of adorable all over again.
32 though.
All right.
Yeah, she's grown and has her children already.
Yeah. I'm going to let you take the first swing at this because you're the only one here who is actually physically a parent.
And a step-parent.
And a step-parent.
What's your first reaction when you read that, and then your first reaction when you saw that she's 37 and has 3 children?
Well, I mean, why does it have to be on paper at that point? You know, if family is family, you don't need a piece of paper to say that you're family.
That's a good point.
Agreed.
That's a very good point.
So I don't need a piece of paper to. So Larry and I are not legally married, but I still consider his kids my stepkids no matter what. But I don't need a piece of paper to tell me otherwise. So why do you need a piece of paper 37 years later?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree too.
I think it would matter more if she was younger and it had to do with healthcare, responsibility, stuff like that. But at 37, she's already got a husband and 3 kids. I don't know. It sounds like he hasn't even talked to her about this at all. So that might be kind of.
It does sound like it's going to be a little bit of a surprise. You know who I would bring it up with first? The actual mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would call your ex-wife and say hey, just so you know.
Does this guy seem like he's a little out of touch with how things are?
I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him a whole bunch of props here that I don't think we're giving him. I think it is a very, very sweet gesture.
Yes.
I don't think it's 100% on point, but I think the what's the word I'm going for here? I think he means very, very well, and I think that does come across to a certain extent. I don't think it's going to 100% play out the way he thinks, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I was 37 and somebody that, I guess they divorced when she was 8 or 9, so they were out of contact for 25 years with the mom. How would I react if I was almost 40 and somebody wanted to adopt me? That'd be kind of weird, I think.
And doesn't it say that they kind of parted ways for a little while?
Him and the mother didn't talk for 25 years, but then they started going on vacations together.
I don't know.
He seems like a hopeless romantic.
He does. You know what? The fact that if him and the ex-wife were back together, like truly back together, married, blah blah blah, I would say that would kind of be like a cool gesture. But since they're not, I don't know. There's just
I don't get like she was saying. I don't understand what the purpose is. Like if you're that close to somebody, you know it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be on paper, because like some people that are on paper are not that close sometimes.
Yeah.
So, what does the piece of paper do for you? That's what I'm
adopt
confusing.
Somebody at 37 years old?
that's a great question. Is this even
You know
legal?
what? You know what? You probably can for fucked up reasons like inheritance and shit like that. You probably can, because I'm sure somebody made a lot of money somewhere by adopting some 50-year-old dude or 50-year-old woman. It's got to be. It's got to be legal. Has to be.
So who is rich that I can get to adopt me?
Oh no, dude.
We have bigger questions to answer here all of
Yeah.
a sudden.
Yeah, the reason why I picked this one is because she's 37.
I thought that once you're 18, like, if you're an adult, like, who can really...
I have heard of like young adults getting adopted before. Like I'm talking like 21, 22.
Yeah.
Which that I kind of get. Because like, yeah, you're an adult, but like a 21, 22-year-old kid is still a kid in my eyes. Like they're still like going through college, doing the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And I don't think it really means anything legally outside of like...
It's like having someone to advocate for you. So, like, if you are, like, in college and...
Parent or guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah, parent or guardian.
Yeah, but I just
She
thought of
doesn't need-
another.
She has a husband. She doesn't need that.
Yeah, I just thought of another reason that doesn't even apply to this now, is that like say you had a horrible childhood and like your last name reminded you of your father who you fucking hated or whatever, and you don't want your last name. But she already doesn't have her own last name. Most likely, because
Most
she's
likely.
married.
Right.
So what do you get? They're not even getting anything. There's no consolation prize. It's just on paper. Okay, what are you gonna like tell people at parties? Like who is this gonna be announced to?
In his obituary, when he says, I'm survived by my daughter,
Oh,
So-and-so?
that's a
maybe?
Yeah, but
that's the press.
like you said in the beginning though, everyone
don't-
that knows them will know
Yes.
that like I know like a couple people who have raised kids from when they were little, and that they're considered the parent.
Right.
Like they are not considered like, oh, that's who raised them. That's who
Yeah.
everyone in
Yeah.
in their life considers to be the parent. So the piece of paper thing is just kind of awkward.
Imagine she said no.
Yeah, that's gonna drive a stake.
Imagine he's like, I want to adopt you, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only been back. If I'm doing the math correct, he's only been back for like 3 years.
She's 37, divorced when we were 8 or 9, so
That's
34. So 3. She
And
was 2,
she
and
was two.
so 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were out of contact for 25 years.
A, way too soon. B, I don't think it's gonna do what he thinks. I think the sentiment is golden, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah, this could be weird. All right, let's see what Abby's got to say about this. Okay, do not make such an important decision on impulse. Be prudent and let this let this renewed relationship with your ex and her daughter play out a little while longer before making any decisions. Then, if you still feel the same, talk to your ex about what you have in mind. If she reacts positively, discuss it with Gwen. But I urge you to use caution because your ex may consider herself her daughter and to be a package deal and expect you to adopt her too. Oh,
I didn't even think about that.
Jesus. Yeah. It goes without saying that this should be discussed with your lawyer because the fact that Gwen still has a father may complicate matters. Yeah, how do you...
Yeah, he would have to
Oh,
give up
yeah.
his fatherly rights to her.
He would have to give up custody? No, there's no custody. It's a grown
No,
adult.
Just,
I guess she would have to... No, I don't think the dad would have anything to do with that if the daughter wanted to disown her or to leave. I
I guess because she's over 18.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nerdy math complications to this. So he said in this he has other kids, right?
Yes.
So if he adopts her, theoretically speaking, he said kids, so we'll assume 2. If he adopts her, the inheritance to them goes from 50-50 to 33% each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird way of looking at it. I know he's doing this from like a good like sentimental point of view, which I find altruistic, but like,
But he's missed out on 25 years of
Yeah.
my life. How can you sit there and say my dad and then look at pictures and be like, well, where was your dad?
Yeah, especially since it was like the entire, like she got to her 9, but like I have some memories from when I was 9 and younger, but not any like ones that are like solid. Like they're super questionable. Like you don't remember really things that well. So yeah, like the whole childhood is gone.
yeah, but you fell on your head a lot.
I did. I got hit in the head a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny watching Abby's advice sometimes because sometimes she goes like weigh kids' gloves and like lays it on, and then other times she's like, you need to get a lawyer and you need to make sure that this ends up with you on top. Like, and this is one of those.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those. I feel like if she thought she was going to play around, he might just be like, nah, she doesn't care.
Yeah, agreed. All right, any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, who's up next?
Way to stop strong. All right, Allie, you are up, and your
Me?
topic, secret death.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you let Tim know when you want him to scroll down.
Okay. My husband's nephew passed away last week. He was only 26 and it was a complete shock. No one realized he was using drugs. My husband is attending the funeral, a 9-hour drive, and will be gone for 4 days. We have 2 children, ages 7 and 9, and because of the pandemic, we've decided I will stay home with them. I'm writing to you because my husband doesn't want to tell our kids that their cousin has died. Ever. We don't see his family often, maybe once every few years, but the kids remember their cousin, and I'm sure they will ask about him the next time we visit. I think we need to tell them, but he is adamant they never should know. Should I fill them in while he's gone or wait until he is ready to break the news?
Ooh, holy crap. You win the award for the heavy one of the week.
This is an interesting one.
It is.
Yeah, because she lost me at Ever.
Yeah, ever. So, I don't know. So,
Yeah, she lost me at Ever. What's your guys' initial thoughts on this?
It can't be never. You can't never say anything. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Kids will remember.
Well, not only remember, they're 9 years old. Like, what grade is 9?
Third or fourth?
4th grade?
Fourth grade. My cousin, now I'm saying it. My nephew is 7. He's in 2nd grade.
Okay, so 9, second, and so kids attend funerals around that age, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not totally out of place to say that kids are familiarized at least somewhat with death on some level.
Yeah, I mean, depends on the family.
Yeah, but if it's somebody that's very close, a grandparent or something like that, usually
They would attend.
It sounds like they're close enough with the cousin to have asked about the cousin. Like, hey, where's cousin Chris or whatever. So this is going to raise a lot of questions. And then on top of that, what do you say? And then you tell them, oh, he went off and lived with some. How does everyone in the family know that secret? Are you just going to keep that secret up?
I don't think you can keep it up forever.
You can't. Someone's going to slip up at a party or something.
I would say by the time they're teenagers, 12, 13 years old, if it came up again when they were older, I would be honest with them.
Yeah.
We tell our kids everything.
So I'm going back to you because you are the mom here.
Yeah, she's the expert.
You're the expert.
I'm not an expert. But
I mean, you have a better success rate than we do.
This is all theoretical on this side of the
we
table.
tell our kids everything.
So in all seriousness, if your kids were 7 and 9 and their cousin passed, would you tell them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, seven's a little young.
I see where you're going. It depends on the maturity of the kid, right?
It depends on the maturity of the kid. It depends on how 9. I mean, I may not. If they came out and said, "How come I haven't seen my cousin Chris?" You know, I'm sorry he got sick and he passed. You know, I wouldn't say he was overdosed and whatever, but
Yeah, that's another layer.
yeah, that's another layer.
So would you tell? There's another thing.
I don't think you have to tell them he overdosed.
No, that's a conversation when you're older, probably.
Yeah.
If they do ask.
When they become like teenager.
Yeah,
14,
I just because it's kind of they're not going to understand what that even really probably means at that age anyway.
Yeah.
But to just not what are you going to tell them when the grandparents die?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's the husband's call because it's his family member. So I definitely don't think she should step on his toes while he's gone and be like, guess what?
So that's actually
that's a good point.
That's a super valid point, because the question wasn't should we tell them. The question was, should I tell them while he's gone?
Or wait until he's ready to break the news.
Oh, so she's going to tell them either way.
She says, I think we should tell them, but he's adamant they should never know.
So, but the last sentence says, should I fill them in when he's gone or wait till he's back? So she's basically like, I don't give a shit what he says. I'm fucking telling these kids that he died. That's gonna be.
You can't tell them while.
No.
I feel like that's worst case scenario.
I think that she makes a good point. Alan makes a good point with, because it's his family, he should kind of have final say with it. And I think that to make a mountain out of a molehill would be to tell them, because whether it's beneficial or not to tell them, I think it's way less beneficial to have a strife between the parents about telling them or not. So if they could, once you tell them, you can't take it back. You can always tell them in the future, but you can't not tell them once you tell them.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I'm a strong proponent of the parents have to be on the same page.
For sure.
Even if they don't agree, they can disagree on something, but they can't go at each other about it.
No.
Especially in front of kids. So it's not like if he disagrees and she says, I'm going to do it anyway.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
All that's going to do is cause chaos.
All
right.
Yeah.
Should we see what Abs has to say?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
You're up, A-Dog.
Let's see. I do not recommend going behind your husband's back with a parenting decision like this one.
We win.
Yes. He may be trying to shield the children from the reality that not only old people, but also young people are mortal. When he returns, approach the kids together and in an age-appropriate manner, explain to them separately what happened. Many young people experiment with drugs because they think that addiction and death won't happen to them. Knowing what happened to their cousin could ensure it won't happen to either of them. Good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
That's, yeah. I was just in the mindset like they're probably too young, but then again, like the internet exists. So like,
kids find everything.
Yeah, but we didn't grow up at that age with the internet.
Yeah.
And I know as soon as the internet came out, it was like Wild West. Even at our age, like when the internet came out, it was like there's no safety nets. It was just you could find it. I'm sure it's the same way now. So we're thinking like our young, dumber brains where it's like you just played Army Men and Manhunt. These kids have everything on the internet. So they might be like experts on drug abuse. Like you don't know.
I hang out with my nephews a lot. I'm gonna tell you, they're like experts on like build the blocks and stuff like that. Still, they're not looking up the finer points of like drug addiction. But I do see your point. They probably know more than they even let on.
They definitely probably know more than we did as kids.
Yeah,
as far as that's concerned. But talking to them separately was a good point.
Yes,
that's a good point too.
Because they're different ages.
It's like training.
I mean, my kids were in middle school, and they would come home and tell me, like, oh, people are smoking pot, like, in the bathroom, like, you wouldn't even believe. Like, you can't even go in the bathroom and come out not
in middle
like
school?
In middle school. 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. No, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
There was one kid, I remember, who smoked weed in, like, 7th grade. And he was like friends with us, but he smoked weed. I remember that was like, what? Like one kid, and it was like everyone knew who it was, and that's what it was. But to have that normal at that age, that's...
Yeah, because that's around like 11, 12, 13 years old, and kids were...
Either my memory is shit, or I was not paying attention as a kid.
I came from a school of like 55 kids in my graduating class, so we were definitely out of the norm as far as other schools.
I didn't hang out with anyone. I don't want to say like I hung out with like straight-laced kids. Like we drank in high school and stuff like that, but like
high school, yeah, but middle school,
exactly. Like I didn't even see that stuff.
The difference in age, like from
it was there
from when you enter school. I think like after like 3rd or 4th grade, like every 2 years is like a giant leap in maturity level, and like and then it like slowly starts to taper off. But the difference of like a 7th grader and like a sophomore or a freshman in high school is like leaps and bounds. Like those might not be the same like species of people because it's the information that they're getting and the conversations that they're having are not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I agree with you there.
I'm glad I don't have to make any decisions with this one. But
Good luck,
kudos to
Mom!
us. We're like 2 for 2 with the advice.
We are 2 for 2. Normally, Abby doesn't like us all that much, but
No.
we're on the grind right here.
All right, Tim, you're up. What do you
All
got?
right. We're going to be talking about the name Switcharoo.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on, I have to scroll a little bit. So the actual question is, name change raises questions of respect to parents. For parents.
Okay.
Dear Abby, is it rude or disrespectful for someone to change their first name? I'm in my early 30s and have wanted to change mine my whole life. I changed the spelling of my name when I was 12, and my parents legally changed it for me when I was a teenager. But I still don't like the name. I cringe whenever I hear it. Because it's a common name for someone my age, I'm sure people won't understand it or won't understand if I change it. While I respect the effort my parents put into selecting a name for me, I don't want to be stuck with this one for the rest of my life. I don't want to cause hurt feelings. However, I'm ultimately the one who has to live with it. Should I do what feels right for me, or must I accept the negative feelings and the disconnect I have towards the name to spare my family's feelings? Disconnected out west.
Get a fucking hobby. You changed it once when you were 12. You're not happy. You probably got 600 pairs of shoes that you never fucking wear because you're not happy with anything, okay? Just fucking deal with your name. Just deal with your fucking name.
This is the whole reason.
I know. I can't help it with this one, though.
Does it say what her name actually is?
No.
No.
She says it's not a girl, is it?
It might be.
It might be.
Oh,
It never
I
says
just
he or
assumed
her.
it was.
That's funny.
Like, she's the sexist one.
I just assumed it was. Because that's definitely.
So glad it wasn't me that did it. Yeah.
So
Can I tell you a funny story?
go.
Yeah.
So my dad came home all excited because he got my name tattooed on his arm for my 18th birthday.
Oh, no.
And he spelt my name with one L. Dad, my name is Allison with 2 L's. All is on. And he's like, no, it's not. And I was like, that's what my birth certificate says. And sure as shit, him and my mom like got into an argument because she's like, I told you I was going to spell it with 2 L's. And he's like, I asked you to spell it with 1 L. And he didn't realize that she spelled it with 2 L's.
But
for
how old were you at this
18
time?
years old.
You were 18? Okay.
Yeah.
So he had never saw your name on paper before that?
I guess not.
Granted, that's a dad move.
That is
Yeah,
such a
so
dad
like,
move.
yeah,
dad
it was
move.
definitely
I
an
get
old
it.
school dad that wasn't involved in like signing schoolwork or
Yeah.
checking, like never.
That's like when your dad's like, how old are you? And you're like, how old do you think I am? And they're like, I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess. You're like, that's a good move.
so funny though.
Yeah.
Oh,
right
no.
on his
Did he get it
forearm.
fixed?
No.
Oh. Just squeeze another little thin.
Yeah.
That was my first
little
thought. I'm like, I
thin
bet he
L.
could fit one in there.
Not
should-
when they're
he should've-
capital letters.
He should have done the
Oh.
teacher correction where like the little red arrow
Yeah,
and then
like
another
insert
L
extra
below
L.
it. Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's not.
That's
my name.
fantastic.
So that's it. That's what this article makes me think about. So if you're changing your name, the spelling of it, I don't know. Why do you need to go the next step and just change it all together?
It sounds like she doesn't or he doesn't like it because it's a common name. So they change the spelling of it to be different. It's like Steven, Steven or Stephen. Like, it's the same fucking name. It doesn't
just different
matter.
spelling.
Like, I get it. There's probably some underlying reason why this person doesn't like their name or whatever. But it sounds the way they're writing it that it's not from a trauma. It's basically they're not happy with their name. I don't know.
I'm gonna say there is not an underlying reason other than
They don't have hobbies.
what
They got too much time on their hands.
Because when they first said they didn't like it, they were 12. I mean, I understand that a lot of people can go through trauma when they're 12, but I know myself when I was 12 was thinking of like video games and like TV and comics and all that other stuff.
How many people are still upset about something that happened when they were 12 that isn't like a massive trauma? Nobody? That's right. Nobody.
So I think this is the silliest question of all time. This is why I wanted to post it.
Yeah. They seem very needy.
A little bit.
Seem
But
needy.
like, why can't you just start a trend? Like, I didn't legally, so I'm divorced, but my name on Facebook was always Allison Skinner, even though my legal name was Ballard. But I made sure that everybody knew, like, okay, well, I don't want to go by that name. I
Yeah.
want to go by this name. So why can't you just be trendy and say, this is my name, even though it's different on like your birth certificate or your credit card.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius. Come up with a nickname for yourself.
You know why? Because this person's got to be difficult.
I have a question. So, do you prefer Tim or Timmy? Did you feel like when you hit a certain age, you outgrew Timmy?
Yes. I absolutely outgrew Timmy. I like being called Tim. When I'm called
I think you should be called T-Man for the rest of your life.
I don't hate that.
I'm going to call you Timmy.
And this is why she's my work wife. When I'm called Timothy, I feel way too prim and proper. Like, I feel like a jerk. When I'm called Timmy, I feel like I should be playing in somebody's yard. Like, hardcore.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing that with names. Do people call you different names depending on when they knew you in your life?
So, my mom always called me Allison and my sister Elizabeth, always. My sister got to high school, she wanted to be Liz. Well, when I got to like high school, I wanted to be Allie, so I changed it to Allie. I think that Allison is more sophisticated, but mostly everybody knows me as Allie. Like on Facebook, social media, I'm Allison, but everybody knows me as Allie because I started the trend.
Yeah.
No, my name's Allie, so everybody calls me Allie. Everybody spells it wrong. Even Dad, after 22 years, spells my name wrong.
But is it like, do you have certain people that call you by either Allie or Allison, and if they don't and they use a different way to say your name, does it hit your ears weird?
No, because it's usually 50-50. Like my husband sometimes will call me Allison, sometimes he calls me Allie.
Okay.
And even my mom would refuse to call us like Allie or Liz, but every once in a while she'd be like.
Because it's super weird when someone like there's like 5 people that can call me Andrew. If anyone else calls me Andrew, I'm like, fuck's your problem? Like, it's Andy. And then Jamie calls me Ange.
Yeah.
If anyone else called me Ange, I wouldn't even look.
But that's different. That's like your cousins, but like, so I don't want to make it weird, but it's almost like a pet name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But that's what I'm saying.
Like T-Man.
Yeah.
But none of those are on my driver's
Awesome
license.
name.
It is.
Like, I didn't have to change my name because I like one over the other. Just have your friends call you what you want to be called.
I want to take back my answer. So yes, my answer to your question is yes. When people call me Al, I have one friend who calls me Al.
Really?
Yeah. We were best friends in high school, but everyone should be like, hey, Al. And I don't know, that hits me weird because she's the only person that calls me Al. Nobody calls that. I think that's
So
like
it hits you weird when she says it or when other people.
Nobody else calls me Al.
Okay, so it hits you weird when she says it.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
like now that we're older and kids and stuff,
Yeah.
we don't see it that often. But every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, Al, and I'm like, it just sounds weird.
Just harbor this hatred for your friend.
I got one. My buddy in high school, this guy James, when we all went our separate ways to college and whatnot, we went to go visit him down in Rutgers the one time, and when we got there, everyone was calling him Jimmy. We had never called him Jimmy a day in his life. So the first person said it, and we're like, what? And like we cornered him later. We're like, did you change your? He's like, no. He's like, I showed up. One person called me Jimmy, and everyone else started to do it, and it just stuck. And he's like, he had been there for a month, so he's like, now he's responding to it, and now
Yeah.
I've started calling him Jimmy sometimes, and I hate it.
Yeah,
He's James.
This is like a thing, especially with guys. I don't know if it's the same for women. Guys will make up your name for you.
Yeah, they do.
Guys will make it. You don't get if you try to choose your name, they will come up with a worse name on purpose, and that's your name. Like, you're not changing it. So the fact that like this makes me now even more think that it's lady, because if a guy did this, like, they're never calling you by that name ever.
I think a guy would just pick a name and just say, this is my name.
But guys will like if you're hanging out with a group of guys, like, they always have like dumbass names, or like they all call the person the same thing, and like you don't pick that. You don't get to pick that. Guys will like, hey, what's your name? Like Bartholomew. They're like, no, it's not working. You're Barty, and you're like, okay.
To back up his point, even if I showed up at work and I was like, hey everyone, I just want everyone to know I really want to go by Timmy. I work with a bunch of women. They might do it. If I showed up here and I was like, just so you know, I really want to go by
I'd
Timmy
be
from
offended
now
for
on,
you even saying it.
I might be kicked out of the studio.
Yeah, it's a thing with guys. I don't know what that is, but you don't get to pick your nickname.
Yeah.
You don't
You
at
don't.
all.
It's funny, when I dropped Nicholas off at daycare, they gave you a piece of paper and they said, what names are we allowed to call your child and what names are we not? And
'Cause
I
things-
said, please do not call him Nikki. Nikki's just a girl's name to me.
Yeah.
It's Nick or Nicholas.
That was smart.
Yeah, Nikki is one of those things where I
in
feel
my opinion.
yeah, no. I think Nikki
all
works
the
if
Nickis.
you have like it's almost like calling somebody a girly name, but they're like this giant murderous person. It's like it works if the person is the complete opposite of what comes to mind.
Yeah, I think because I grew up with two girls who were Nikki, so
Oh yeah,
to me,
that'll
I
do
was
it.
just like I just kept thinking that Nikki was more of a girl's name.
I love that point. I know someone named Shannon, a guy named Shannon, and I
Yeah.
know Shannon has the ability to be a guy's name,
So does Andy.
but it doesn't. Wait, what?
Andy's a girl's name too.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's weird.
But the Shannon I know works with my brother. He's a masculine cop, like dark
Oh, that's
shade
right.
glasses.
He's a client of ours, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a client of ours. But I just, whenever I talk to him, like in the back of my head, I find it funny because, like, to me, Shannon is a girl's name, but like, there's not many more masculine men than this guy, so it's such like a contrast. I find
Yeah.
it funny.
Yeah. So advice for this person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should probably answer that.
What is the verdict on this? Is it should she or he change her name, not change her name? Are we just being mean, or am I just being mean? You guys were actually very polite to the person. Should they spare their parents' feelings for more or less to not change the name?
You go first, Al.
The only thing I can think of, if I want to get deep, is if maybe they're of like, maybe they have like an international name and their name really means something important to their country, and that's why their parents gave them this really important name.
Yeah, could be.
Other
She's
than
being way
that,
too nice. She's being way too nice.
other than that, then you know what, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Just go trendy and pick your own name, and once you put something out on social media, it sticks. That's just what people, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're SOL. I mean, depending on how old they are now, I don't think it says how old they are. Oh, they're in their 30s.
Who the
Even if you change your name, legally speaking,
No.
you would have to get a whole new set of friends for it to work.
How many people go by their middle name? There's a lot of people who don't like their first name, so they go by their middle name.
That's true. That is
Just
true.
lot of
start
people.
saying it.
Yeah,
Just start
saying it.
introducing yourself as that. I mean, your friends that you have now, you're shit out of luck. They're going to call you what they're going to call you. But anyone else, you just tell them what you want to be called. The fact that they're going through like I want to change my name, that just makes me think I don't ever want to be at a party with them.
All right.
They sound boring.
we bashed this poor human being enough. Let's see what they have.
Oh, that's a long one. Oh, we're wrong.
Many people change their names for various reasons. If you feel the need to do it in order to be a more authentic version of yourself, go for it. Assuming you have told your parents how you feel about your first name, I doubt they'll be any more upset about it than they were when they helped you change its spelling as a teenager. A word of caution, however. The process may take more time than you would like because of the pandemic has slowed the court system considerably. Also, once you change your name, you will need to change it on all official identifying documents such as driver's license, insurance documents, passports, etc., which can be time consuming. She went soft gloves.
Funny story on that. My dad and me have the same name, right? Andrew Charles Smith, which is weird because I'm the second born. Usually the firstborn gets the name.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm technically a junior.
Yes.
My dad grew up thinking his name was Andrew Charles Smith. He got into the military and they got called into the office like after, boot camp or whatever. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here? He's like, what? They're like, you're Andrew Charles Smith? He's like, yeah. They're like, well, who's this? And they show him his birth certificate. It just says Andrew Smith. And he's like, I don't know. My mom always told me my middle name was Charles. And they're like, well, which is it? And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, well, you're Charles Smith now. So half his stuff says Andrew Smith and half of it says Andrew Charles Smith. So, and he can never change that because his military record shows Charles and his
Ooh.
birth certificate shows no Charles. So it's two like official documents that you can't ever change.
I feel like that's a plot point for a murder trial.
Yeah.
Just happened to me. So back to when I changed my name. So after my divorce, I wanted to keep my married name because it was the same name as my kids. So I figured for school, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, forget it. The kids, I said to the kids, you care if mommy changed? No, change your name. So I went to Social Security Administration, changed my name back to Skinner because I had my birth certificate.
Yeah.
Took my new Social Security card to the DMV, and she said, I need to see your divorce documents. Now, luckily, someone advised me that if I wanted to change my name back, I had to put it in my divorce agreement and ask permission. So the bitch sat there and read my entire divorce papers to make sure
That's such a DMV
that it
move.
was in there. And I'm like, bitch, you're reading my freaking like personal documents, whatever. But until she found it, she was going to leave my license as Ballard and my social security card was going to be Skinner. I said, how am I going to walk around with 2 different names? She didn't want to change it. She's like, not unless it's in your divorce paper. I'm like, I have the Social Security Administration should trump DMV, right?
Yeah. Well, because you already went through the process of doing it.
Right.
And there also, too, I'm assuming those papers have like subs on them and stuff where you can go to like section 2.01, right? It's not just like one long paragraph like a child wrote it.
Yeah, I didn't really. And I brought it with me just.
But the DMV should know where that is.
Yeah.
Because they probably do
I
that.
I didn't even have it memorized where it was.
Yeah, but they should probably do that quite often. Like if you have to look something up in a spec book that's your job, you should know where the section is.
I had a piece of paper once. I was using a debit card as one of my forms of ID, and it said Timothy P. Fulton, and my license said Timothy Paul Fulton, and the guy said, we cannot accept that. That is not your name. Timothy P. Fulton. I forged an ATM card, stole an ATM card from a Timothy P. Fulton. What would even be the odds?
Yeah. No.
All right.
It's a lucky break for you.
Are there any last thoughts on this before we close up shop here?
No. I think we're good.
All right. Well, Al, once again, I would like to say thank you for joining us on this episode of the Bro Down Podcast.
Yeah.
No
Shed some new light.
Some female light.
Some female light. Some much needed female
Thank you
light.
for having me.
It was our pleasure. For you people out there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of all of these articles. Let us know if we're just giant assholes with our advice. He is. Or if you agree with us on some of these things. Last but not least, don't forget to go to brodownpro.com where we constantly have new things coming out all the time. This has been Tim Fulton.
Thanks for joining us.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.